What's up, my people? Another Caneta video coming to you. Today's title of the video is Neymar's worst career defeat. But should he play for Brazil? My answer may surprise you, but let's get into it after the intro. Roll it. What is happening, ladies and gentlemen? Recording this video today, August 19th, a couple days after the game. A little late to it, but here we are. So we're going to get into the Santos home defeat by 6-0 to Vasco da Gama, and whether Neymar should be called up for the Brazilian national team for the World Cup qualifiers coming up in September. But first, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe, and let's get into it. So, Santos played against Vasco da Gama at home home. They were playing at not at their home stadium, but at the Morumbi Stadium, which is home to São Paulo, but they're playing a few matches there. And so it's still considered a home match for them. And yeah, it wasn't great. Bit of a weird game. The first 15 minutes, all Santos, right? Dominated. Vasco couldn't really do anything to them. Santos forward Guilherme wasted quite a good chance set up by Neymar. But then around the 16th, 17th minute mark, Mikey, the Santos right back, was challenging for a ball near the touchline against the Vasco da Gama's player. The ball seemingly went out of play. It looked to have been out, and Mikey just simply raised his hand and stopped challenging for the ball. The Vasco da Gama's player continued playing. The ensuing play resulted in the first goal at the 17th minute mark. Now, if you're watching the game at the time, you're thinking, well, that's dumb. But in hindsight, it should have been a sign of things to come. Mike is a very experienced player. He, not a youngster. He won a league with Cruzeiro in 2013, 2014, and then at Palmeiras, he won the league as well in 2018, 22, and 23. Won the Libertadores Cup in 2020 and 21 as well. So Libertadores is the equivalent of the Champions League in South America. This guy was elected, he was chosen for the Silver Ball. So that's it's a prize in the Brazilian league for, the best player in the respective positions, right? So he's a right back. He won the best right back in the league in 2013, 2018, and 2023. So we're not talking about a kid here, or just even just a mid player. This is a top player in the Brazilian league with tons of experience. To just stop because the ball seemingly went out like that while you're defending, not good, right? It's quite frankly unacceptable. But there we are, right? So that happened. Still fairly normal, seemingly normal game up until then. Santos had a couple of chances until halftime. And first half ended 1-0 to Vasco, right? Nothing terrible. Second half begins. Then we see Guilherme, Santos' forward, waste another chance. I mean, this guy, to put it mildly, is not at the level, right? We'll leave it at that. Just not good enough. Wastes a lot of chances. If he played for my team, I mean, I'm not a Santos fan, and that guy just drives me insane. Very wasteful. So, yeah. Then Barreal hits the post for Santos. But then 2 minutes later, Vasco gets their second. A third a minute later, Coutinho scores. 2 more minutes go by, then a handball in the box, which I felt was harsh. But 5 minutes after some VAR review, they decided it was a penalty. So then they scored another one, and then a minute later came the fifth. This one, Coutinho just waltz in to the box and chips the goalkeeper. Beautiful, beautiful vintage Coutinho goal. And I love the guy, right? He's an awesome player. But they were giving him way too much time on the ball. The goal itself was a nice string of passes that they made to get to Santos's box. And Coutinho just was left 1-on-1 with the keeper. But I mean, that was at jogging pace, right? It wasn't Liverpool Coutinho going fast. It was training pace. And in the 68th minute, they scored the sixth. It got to the point, in these last couple of goals where it seemed like Santos's players just gave up. And that's what I'm talking about when, Mikey in the first half gave up on the play, right? When you watch the game, you see the players, when they run and they sprint to press, but then they stop, right? They just stop short. And then Vasco would just pass the ball around them, and the next player would just sprint, act like they were pressing, and then stop, allow them to make another pass. And it just kept happening. They just kept pretending to press and watching Vasco just pass the ball around them. It got so bad that even the Santos's fan joined in the Ole choruses, and then eventually they got so pissed that they turned their backs to the game and then just finished the rest of the game staring at the wall, right? That's not a good sign. So that happened. And honestly, if it wasn't for their goalkeeper, Brazão, Santos's goalkeeper, it would have been 8 or 9. And this guy is right now the best goalkeeper in the Brazilian league. So much so that he's in the preliminary list to get a call up for Brazil. And if it wasn't for him, it would have been worse. At the end, they didn't wait too long. They fired the coach, Kleber Xavier. He was Chichi's assistant. So if you remember, Chichi used to be the Brazilian national team coach. Before that, he was Corinthians coach. And after Brazil, he ended up coaching Flamengo. Wasn't a great job. And his staff member, Kleber Xavier, in his first professional job, was given the Santos job, right? This is the second coach Santos has already had in the season. Now they're going to have a third one. It is said that Mateus Bacchi, again, another person related to Chichi, this time Chichi's son, is going to be taking the job apparently in the interim while they look for a permanent coach. Why not just hire Chichi already? I guess apparently he's in a sabbatical, but there we are. Terrible, terrible game. Neymar was crying at the end. Not a great look, to be honest. And he, after the match, had the audacity in his post-match interview to say that they should be ashamed of themselves and they better come back to training, firing on all cylinders. But you notice he said they, like he excluded himself from that whole performance, right? Like, he's the captain. Motherfucker, you're supposed to be leading by example. There's not a they, it's a we thing, right? That's just crazy to me. Maybe misspoke or something, but that just didn't look good. To make matters worse, the Santos's members of the Torcida Organizada, as we refer to in Brazil, that's sort of like the ultras for European clubs. They paid him a visit in their training facility today, and met with the staff and the players, and basically told them what's up. They and they actually directed some words towards Neymar, telling him, And I thought it was kind of funny because they're talking to him like, look, you're this global superstar and you're sitting there crying at the end of the game. Imagine them. And they point to the rest of the Santos' team that it's just frankly not good enough. That team is just not good enough. It's really sad to see. They came up right from the second division last year, and hope they had hopes by having Neymar they could maintain themselves in the Serie A, the first division. But it's not looking like it. They're currently sitting in is it 18th in the league? Vasco was right behind them. Actually, let me check here. They are sitting in the actually Santos is 15th with 22 points, 20 games, right? Santos is in 15th, right behind them, but they have one less game, so they played 19 and they have 21 points, so they're literally 1 point behind Santos right now, and they are, right there, close at the top of the relegation zone, right? 17th place is the relegation zone to 20. So I would not be surprised if we see Neymar, who just had the worst defeat in his career. Remember, he wasn't part of the 7-1 for Brazil. And he lost, 4-0 against PSG in the Champions League. But, that comeback win that they had was all him, really. So that doesn't even count. So really, this is his worst defeat in his career. And, before there were talks about him joining the national team, and the reaction was okay. Now it's very different. Especially, he received a yellow card in this game, and again, doesn't help his case, right? We all know about his suspensions at interesting times of the year. This time, it just happens that he is suspended for the next match that happens to fall on his son's birthday. So make of that what you will. It could have been that he was going to do that anyway because he's managed. Look at this. He's managed to play 7 matches in a row and stay on for 90 minutes, right? For Neymar, that's pretty good right now. And so maybe they were planning on him having a break anyway. Who knows? But I'm just telling you like it is. And so Brazil is going to be playing against Chile on September 4th and Bolivia on September 9th for the World Cup qualifiers, if I could just speak, right? Should he be called up? That's the question right now. I'm a huge Neymar fan. We'll put it this way. I'm a fan of his game. Huge fan of his game. I'm old enough to have seen R9, Ronaldinho, Rivaldo, Kaká, Romário. Neymar is legit, right? You cannot. I'm an old head. I love R9 is my guy. If I had to pick one player, that's my guy. But I love watching Neymar play. It's not even up for discussion for me, right? His skills, his repertoire, he just glides on a pitch. I've never seen a player more, in terms of combining the skills and the fluidity and the style. I've never seen anybody like that, right? He's just so fluid. His movements are just so. It's beautiful to watch, and his creativity, his right foot, left foot, turn on a dime. He can put the ball wherever he wants. Vision for days. If I could play like anybody, I would want to play like that guy. So, having said that, do I think he should be called up for the national team? Given his performances this year, right? So in the Brasileirão, the Brazilian League, He has played 11 matches and scored 3 goals. That's pretty low, no assists. And then we get into his stats. It gets even worse. So, as far as expected goals, it's not too bad. He's got, 3.88 expected goals. He scored 3, so it's not terrible. But then we start getting into, his expected assists is just 1.75. He has 0. Granted, he's not playing on a good team at all, so no one is helping him. What's killing me is his successful dribbles per match or per game. He's got 1.2, so that's a 37% success rate that he has. Dribbles, that's unheard of for Neymar. That shouldn't happen. Possessions lost 16 times per match. Again, when would you have seen Neymar have these kinds of numbers? He's got 81% accurate passing, which is not too bad. That's all right. But it's just too low. It's too low. Having said that, I still think he should be called up for the national team. Call me crazy. Here's why. 1, high-level players, they need people that can keep up with them. And I will tell you the Santos team does not have players that can keep up with him. They cannot keep up with his brain. They don't move right. They don't, he gives them the ball and the play just dies. They miss a lot of chances. He has to create everything. He has to finish everything. So it ends up, nothing happens. When you watch him play, you can clearly see he's not giving 100%, and it's as if he's just trying to get through enough games without getting hurt. So he's not exploding, right? So he dribbles, or he tries to dribble, but while his feints might work, the defenders just catch up to him real quick and they body him off the ball. Like that happens a lot, and you just see he's not exploding, right? It's not that he can't, even though he's slowed down compared to what he used to be. He's older, but it's not that he can't explode. I think it's a fear of injury, and he's kind of trying to just maintain a certain amount of games, right, and not going into the not getting hurt. So I can kind of excuse that. Another problem, though, is that he has been very emotional lately. I mean, you see him arguing with his own fans, with Santos fans, mid-game. He's arguing with guys and just having these back and forth. And then after the game, he's doing some more. This yellow card he got this game was complaining. The game wasn't even bad. It was still 1-0, and he got that yellow card in the first half. When you look at what's happening and then you see his reactions, they just don't match the reality of the game. Like, he just exploded. So that's why people think it was on purpose. Because that was just uncharacteristically rebellious for the occasion. But he's still acting in these emotional, his behavior is very emotional as of late. I mean, again, if I'm him and I'm playing with those guys, maybe that's what it is. But so he's got these problems, right? Now, why do I think he should be called up? He's not going to be playing with the same level of players on the national team. He doesn't even have to actually get on the pitch. Maybe give him, 15 minutes. But he's going to be in a different environment. It's going to take him away from the guys he's playing with now and training with all the time now. It's going to put him with a lot higher level players, a lot better caliber players. It'll just freshen up his mind. Then you can actually see, right? Ancelotti will be able to see what he's actually capable of right now. Look, I think he should be going to the World Cup if he's fit. If it was right now, for example, take him, right? You might need a guy like that. Now, what I'll say is none of this Neymar dropping deep to the halfway line to get the ball, initiate play, dribble 1-2, and then try to create something. No. They're going to beat the living daylights out of this guy if he tries to do that. He needs to be closer to goal. Up front, either providing that last pass or the goal itself, right? He needs to be close to goal. He doesn't like to play that position. One time he did that, just so happened to be against my team, Flamengo, and he scored. They won. That's where he needs to be, right? He can still provide those moments. He still has enough quality to win you games when you need it. Not saying they should form and mold the whole team around him. Ancelotti's got to prepare the team the way he's going to prepare the team with the players that he has in mind. Take Neymar and then add him to it, right? He's not Messi where they're going to play around and for him. Unless he takes off and starts, he's Neymar again. In his current state, take him. Let's see how he behaves and how he plays around better quality players. Let's see how he, progresses that way. See how he's doing. Let him play, 15 minutes. Not the Bolivia game because that's high elevation, way up there. Let him play the first game for, a few minutes, maybe even 30 minutes, whatever. Let him get on there. Brazil's already qualified. This is just testing now, seeing what players fit. So yeah, take him, see how it goes. Let him get a little bit, of freedom away from the Santos environment. Refresh him, and he can get back and look. Maybe after the season he transfers to a different club. He shouldn't stay at Santos. And then he can play half a season until the World Cup so he can prepare, right? So maybe he goes to a better team and he'll be in a lot better shape by then. So that's what I think. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Make sure to like and subscribe. And until then,